Your reality is whatever you say it is. In fact, there is no physical reality other than the definition that you give to it. Everything is energy, everything is holographic, everything is truly a wave of potential, a wave of energy that when you, the observer, the I am, focus upon it, give it a meaning, it collapses that wave down into the physical, down into form. That is how you're creating your reality. And this is backed up by science. And so it doesn't even matter how things seem to look. It is whatever you say something is, whatever you believe it to be, is what it is the storyline that you take, the timeline that you take. And I am obsessed with shattering paradigms around manifestation, around creating your reality, and doing it in a way that is radically different and simple. And that's why I love to say that there are no blocks. Truly, there is nothing blocking you. There's nothing that you need to state, this is a block, this is a problem, this is stopping me, because it's not. But it shows up that way if you define it in that way. Every choice you're making is collapsing waves of potential down into matter. So it really matters how you are labeling things in your life. Like if you start actually applying this, you will transform every area of your life, every circumstance from just doing this one thing. Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Juliet. I'm a manifestation coach helping you to quantum jump to your highest timeline. And if you resonate with this message, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap that bell icon. If you would like to work together, that information is in the description box below for you, as well as the link to my meditation channel. Okay, so recently I created a video talking about how, nothing is really outside of you. And there is no one else in your reality. And that your reality is just your energy. It is all made up of your energy. So it is all your creation, whether you're doing that on purpose or by default. It can only be your creation. It cannot be anyone or anything else's. And I talked about how when you leave your house disappears. When you walk into your kitchen, the kitchen appears. So nothing is really physical, yes? It's all very holographic, and this is backed up by science. In fact, there are even documents from the CIA that actually go into detail about all of this and what our reality really is. But basically, everything is just different rates of frequency, and it's a projection of your consciousness. And so when you walk into the kitchen appears. When you leave the kitchen and you go to your bedroom, the kitchen isn't there. Everything shows up for you as you need it to. And why I love, pointing this out, and, this is what quantum mechanics, quantum physics teaches us. But I love pointing this out and reminding us of this because it means the same exact thing for every circumstance in your life, for all the goals, the outcomes that you're wanting to step into. It is exactly the same thing. It's really, if you are focused on something, you, as the observer, you turn that into a particle, you turn that into matter, right? If you give something a meaning, you collapse a wave of energy down into form. So you're doing this all day, every day. But here's how this can absolutely transform areas of your life. Circumstances that maybe have been challenging for you, have felt like this is an obstacle. I can't get around this, I'm stuck. Firstly, you're not stuck. This is like the biggest thing, and if you can really get this and start applying this, you'll transform so many areas of your life from this one thing. So everything truly is an illusion in the 3D. It's a very important experience we're having, but it is truly an illusion. It's like churning out all different illusions based on what we're thinking, feeling, what we're believing to be true. The frequency that we're vibrating at is what we will perceive, and you literally cannot perceive anything you're not the match, like the frequency of. So if you understand that the outer reflection, the projection, the circumstances of your life, there's no difference between the inner world and the outer world. Don't make that, like I said in a previous video, don't make the distinction, don't place a definition there of out there is different to what's in here, what's within. Because truly, at the core, like factually, scientifically, there's no difference between the outside and the inside. And we can see that by through science. We know that the brain and the body cannot tell the difference between something you're actually experiencing, observing out there in your life, and when you're imagining having an experience, whether you're actually experiencing it in the physical, it's not actually experiencing, but you know what I mean, or you're imagining it. The brain and body do not know the difference. The universe does not know the difference because there is no difference. Feel that. There's no difference. The outside is the inside. So, you're consistently, all day, every day, with the choices that you're making, you're collapsing these waves of energy down into form. And so, when you're seeing circumstances in your life and you're giving them meaning, whether that's you know you're doing it or it's by default, it's automatic and you're not catching it and making a change, you're saying, hey, this thing, something went wrong. Something's gone wrong. Oh no, this is a bad thing. This is a very negative thing. I've taken a negative turn. This is really hard. All those kinds of terms. This is a block. That's a big one. I'll go into that next. So when you're defining things in your reality, you don't realize that it really has nothing to do with the external circumstances that you're seeing, you're experiencing with your five senses. You can see that it's happening or whatever. Maybe you can even feel it if it's an illness in your body or whatever it is. But as it is, it doesn't hold meaning within it. It's not a thing that's like, okay, this is actually a bad thing. No, it is the label that you place on that. And so if you're not placing that definition there, and in fact, you know maybe that everything works out for you, maybe that's something that you're choosing, and you can see that this is serving you in some way, and you can maybe even look into the situation and notice how it is serving you. You will neutralize the energy around the situation because the circumstance itself doesn't hold power or anything like that. But in the moment that you're analyzing it, you're observing it, and you're making conclusions, you're making assumptions about what this means or how bad it is or how stuck you are, right? Or whatever it is, you're collapsing that potential down into matter in this moment, right? So that's why the outer stuff isn't as important to really, like, you know, not place too much importance on the outside. Again, that's just the inside. So when we want to see a change on the outside, we have to change within. We have to be the change. We have to be of the frequency that we want to experience. That's the only way you can experience what you want, is matching the frequency of it. So I want you to look at, let's just take one area of your life. Whether it's something that is like, oh, this is such a big problem for me. This has been a problem for the longest time. Or something has gone wrong and I'm trying to figure it out and I'm trying to manifest the solution. Or it could be something where it's like, you're doing pretty good, but you're stuck at the current level you're at. Like maybe in your income, for example. You're stuck at a certain level of abundance of income. And you feel like you haven't been able to jump to that next level, that next timeline reality, and receive that, start experiencing that. So take one thing in your life and you can apply this to that situation. So firstly, you want to notice, what are the definitions I've been given this? Like, and if you really are unsure, then just take a day or a few days or a week, and notice any time that this subject comes up and the maybe automatic definition or labels that you've been placing on this thing. What have you been saying about this? What have you been choosing to believe about this? How have you been defining it? Right? So, but if you're already kind of aware, then write that down. Get clear on what have I been saying about this thing, thinking about this thing. Have I been maybe saying or thinking, this is bad. This is a bad thing. This is negative. This is a block. This is hard. This is very difficult. I need to figure this out. Something has gone wrong. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Just look at how you've been defining this. And it can be a situation that maybe many people would look at and say, yeah, that's a bad thing. That's something that went wrong. That's a negative thing. That means this, right? And I want you to just neutralize that and strip away all those labels, all those stories, because that's what it truly is. At its core, this circumstance, yes, it's a reflection of who you have been. But as it is now, you have a choice in this moment if you want to continue to collapse that potential down into form, down into reality, into physical matter. Do you want to, in this moment, do you want to observe this and continue to collapse that potential down into form? Is that the potential you're choosing in this moment? Or, so let's strip away all those stories, all those labels, because they are just that. They're just labels, they're just definitions, they're just stories. So if we take away all this is bad and this is hard and it's going to take a long time, or I don't know what it is, it'll never happen, or I can't figure it out, or whatever it is for you. Strip away all of those pieces and you're left with something that actually holds no meaning and no power. Now, from this 0 point, how do you want to define this thing? You can place a very positive meaning on it. So if you're noticing like, okay, this has actually served me because it helped me to see maybe the money beliefs that I was holding on to, still choosing, that were not in alignment, or the relationship beliefs, or it helped me to see that I was neglecting myself and not loving myself. So this has actually served me. This has been serving me. This has actually been a positive message that I sent myself. This actually happened for my highest good. This is actually leading me to focus more on creating or aligning with more abundance. So even if it looks like, oh, I don't have the abundance because of this situation or whatever, this is actually propelling me forward, and I'm grateful for that. I can see how this is pushing me toward my highest timeline. And again, it's pointing out to me things that I wouldn't have seen if not for this situation. And for whatever you're looking at specifically, notice all the positive things. Whatever positive thing you can place on this, do it. And it has to be, you have to mean it, right? Because usually when you're placing a negative belief or definition on a circumstance, you do kind of mean it. You're like, yeah, well, this is hard. I hate this. Like, this is a struggle. This is a really bad thing. You really mean that. So you have to kind of find the positives that you can find about this and mean it. Like, what I can actually see. How this was pushing me, or has been pushing me, maybe even toward looking within and stop looking outside of me. Like, how has this benefited me? What's the positives here? And what is so powerful about this process is not only did you first neutralize the emotional charge, the energetic charge around this subject that was kind of holding you in this holding pattern, keeping you kind of stuck. You neutralize that emotional charge by taking away, stripping away all of those labels, all of those definitions, seeing it as a complete, just neutral, a neutral prop, as Bashar says, a neutral prop, something that is really has no power or built-in meaning. So understanding that you're the one placing the meaning on it in this moment, right? It may be coming to you to give you a message from, like, you know, reflecting your past frequency, your past choices, so that in this new moment now, you can make a new choice and collapse a different potential down into form. So not only did you neutralize it and take away that strong energetic and emotional charge around it of like, this is a bad thing, it's realizing it's not. It's not. Nothing has that built-in story, like a story built into the circumstance that says, this is a bad thing. This means you're on the wrong path. Something's gone wrong. It doesn't mean that at all. What do you want it to mean? Place the meaning on it. What do you want this to mean? Because you've got to understand, again, bringing the science back into this, is that when you give it a different meaning in this moment, and maybe there's a few more moments that you got to do that in, because you didn't really maybe neutralize that situation fully, right? So you allow yourself to feel any emotions. If you're triggered by these situations, allow yourself in complete presence, no judgment. Allow the emotions to be felt and released completely. And then you give it, like, you neutralize it, take away all the stories, realize it's really nothing. It's at a point zero. What meaning do I want to place onto this thing so that I can get the effect of that, so that I take the timeline of that, the storyline of that. And you can do this in any and every moment. And again, like I said, remembering the science of this, in that when you do this, you're taking a different potential from all of the infinite potentials that exist in each and every single moment. Now. There's only this one moment, but it seems like a different moment. In every single moment, you have access to infinite potentials. And don't even think for a second of like, yes, but I can't really access them because of this or because of that. No, you have full access to every potential in this moment. What potential will I choose to collapse down into form now? And the more that you start doing that habit, do you understand by the science of this that you actually literally cannot get the same experience you were having, the same old circumstance, if you do this, because that's a different potential and you're no longer picking that up. The emotional charge, the energetic charge there, you drop that. That's gone. There's a new story, a new movie playing. Feeling energy coming through the top of my head right now. But the cool thing with this is that it's almost instant. It's almost instant. I mean, maybe you could actually experience it as an instant change, but it is a very, very quick turnaround. Because you're now taking you just collapsed a completely different potential down into form. So now you're experiencing that new potential, that new parallel reality, that new timeline. And you get to actually see very, very quickly that this situation is a positive. I've kind of touched on this before, but it really came through me very strongly in the last few days, because you don't realize that every little thing you're saying about something is and when you mean it, right, is collapsing a wave down into form. And that in the next moment, you can really completely choose something different. You can say, oh wait, hang on, that's not a fact. It's something I've chosen from all the potentials that exist right here and now, but it's not a fact. It's like saying, this is really hard. This is really hard for me. Or this is impossible. And then catching yourself and saying, hang on, that's not a fact. How am I going to redefine this? in this moment, what will I now choose to collapse down into form? It's so powerful. You can use this with anything, and it will start to reflect back to you in a different way, because it must. Like, again, I can't stress enough the science that backs up that this is how you're creating your reality. When you observe a wave of potential, it collapses down into a particle, into matter. But when you look away from it, it returns back to that wave of energy. Yes? So, which tells us that you're the one creating everything by how you're seeing it, how you're perceiving it. And this is really, really big, because what I found through coaching clients and having been coached myself, even just for a very short period of time, was that a shift in perspective. That sounds really simple, but a lot of it can be made to be or seem like a very difficult process anyway. But a shift in perspective, a shift in your perception about something is a total shift, a total change, and a total timeline shift in the moment. And so it's why I've said you can have massive shifts. Ooh, there's a lot of energy coming through. You can have massive shifts. You can have like things like paradigms, belief systems that you've been like, man, I've been going through this. I've been working on this for the longest time. You can have that completely switched, released. You can have that completely turned around, completely shifted from just one shift in perspective. In a perspective about something, you shift your perception on this thing, this circumstance, this idea, this rule of like, you have to do this and you have to do that, or you can't do it that way, or this situation looks really bad, or it means this, or you're not going to get what you want. Shift the meaning, shift your perspective on that thing, whatever it is, whether it's a thought, a belief, or whether you can actually change your beliefs, which of course you can. But that, that's a block for a lot of people. That is something that a lot of people believe in, is that it's difficult to change, difficult to release beliefs, all of these pieces. And I like to just be so like in your face with it's very simple. And you don't need to struggle with it, and you don't need to do a million processes, and there isn't like this whole bunch of things that you need to do. Like I'm saying, you can have a total reality shift, a total paradigm shift, a total release of what you got to release from one shift in perspective. So, make that your goal of like looking at things in different ways, seeing it in a different light, truly, not pretending, not acting as if, but truly seeing this in like a different way. Can I look at this in a different way? Because when you do that, when you look at it in a different way and you truly see something else there, you see a different meaning there, you're in a different timeline. You just transform that thing. So watch how it now transforms in your life. If you have any situations where you're just like, oh man, I've been feeling bad about this situation for the longest time, with my relationship or my health or credit card debt or not being able to get the house or whatever it is, something that I've been feeling bad about for the longest time, let's look at that. And what have you been telling yourself about that? And strip it away. Strip it away, realize it's all stories, it's all BS. Even if you're like, yeah, but it's true. No, it's one truth. It's one potential that you keep collapsing down into matter. And you're like, why is it still here? Like, why is it still happening? Why isn't it going away? Right? The things that are not meant for you, that are not in alignment with who you really are, They want to go away. They're trying to leave. And you usually unconsciously are holding on to them. And it's realizing, oh, I don't have to. I can look at this in a different way. If I start to really feel around this in a different way, look at it and label it in a different way, then it is different. It is different. It's different. It's a different reality you're in now, where this thing is actually helping you to get to everything you want to have and be and do, and then it happens very quickly. And so the last thing I wanted to talk about was blocks and beliefs and things that are stopping you. Nothing's blocking you and nothing's stopping you. And this is something that came to me in December last year. For my own life, I realized I thought there were things really stopping me and blocking me and that I couldn't step up into my next level. And then I didn't realize that that was all fluff, like stories, shadows, illusions, and I could just step up into it. But my belief systems were making it seem like I couldn't because it wanted to keep me safe, keep me at my current level. So it's like, oh, you can't because of this and because of that, and you need to have this and do this and all these things. And I realized, oh, wait, I can just step up into it. And I did. And I've been continuing to. But it's funny because as soon as you label something as a block, it acts as a block. Do we see how important this is? As soon as you label some belief or even a circumstance that's appearing in your life, right? A shadow, a projection, but you're looking at it and you're saying, this is stopping me. This is blocking me. Or things within me, these belief systems, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. It's never going to happen. Whatever it is, I'm not worthy. I'm not loved. It's blocking me. It's a block. How do I release these blocks? When you label it as that and you mean that, then you're collapsing that into form and it appears that it's blocking you and you can't get rid of it because you're like, it's blocking me, it's blocking me, it's blocking me. It's stopping me. This is stopping me. These things outside of me are stopping me. Nothing's stopping you. The things outside of you can't stop you. But you can look at them as the observer, as the I am. You can look and observe these things and say, this is stopping me. And then guess what? You're stopped. You're not moving forward because you're saying this thing outside of me is stopping me, but that thing outside of you has no power. It can't stop you. You're stopping yourself. And if you don't like that you're doing it, could you be willing to make a different choice? And to collapse a different wave of potential down into matter? Could you be willing to look at this in a different way? So if I say this is a negative thing, it appears to be a negative thing. That's how powerful you are. And if you stop labeling things as negative, then they're going to be very neutralized. You could look, curiosity is what's coming up. The biggest thing, curiosity. So it's very neutral. Observe the things in your life with a neutral curiosity of like, what is this telling me? What is this telling me? What is this showing me about my frequency or my beliefs? Or, you can get curious with what you've been choosing or buying into so that you can make a different choice. But also curiosity of, can I look at this in a different way? How can I see this? What's another way of looking at this? What's a positive way of looking at this, defining this? I want to see the positive in this. I want to see how this is benefiting me. How can we look at this in a different way? So curiosity is incredible because you're not sitting there like, I need to fix this. It's just being curious and making a different choice. Like I said, you can have credit card debt, and you could have been for the longest time struggling with that and looking at it as a bad thing. But what if you stripped away all the definitions, there's no thoughts or stories around it, it's not a bad thing anymore? What if you can even see how it pointed out to you very clearly some money beliefs that were not serving you so that you could notice them, let them go, and move into absolute incredible abundance. Therefore, this is helping you with your abundance. You can choose that, which is really the truth. You can choose that, or you can choose to see it as bad, wrong, how do I fix it? And again, like I said, you're going in circles because you're saying this is negative, this is bad, I got to fix it. But anytime you're trying to fix something, you never fix it. Okay, and that is it. Let me know if you enjoyed this video by commenting down below, by giving this video a thumbs up and sharing it and subscribing if you haven't already. Let me know if you try this out because I want to know your results, your feedback, and I thank everyone for sending me DMs and comments and emails with your incredible results, especially recently. If you would like to work together, that information is all in the description box below for you. Have an amazing day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.